Today we're going to make a Crochet Calla Lily. Hi, I'm Rosanna from Moara Crochet, and today is going to be my 11th free crochet pattern, as many of us turn to stay home and safe. Don't forget there is a full written photo tutorial on my blog, and as per usual there is a link down below with access to other free crochet patterns and crochet knowledge. And if you subscribe, you'll also get access to crochet promotions and other extra knowledge. So let's get started. And don't forget, stick around to the end of the video and you get a sneak peek at next week's free crochet pattern. To make my Crochet Calla Lily, I'm using a 2.5 crochet hook and DK cotton yarn. For row 1, we'll start with a magic circle, so tail in front, yarn over and make your cross. Pick up your yarn and there's your magic circle. Okay, so row 1 we're going to chain 1 and then I'm going to put 10 single crochets into the center of this magic circle. It's 2, 3. Here is all my 10 single crochets. So I'm going to pull my magic circle shut. Pull here. And I'm going to slip stitch into my first single crochet, which is just here. I'll slip stitch and I can pull that circle tight. Now for row 2 we're going to chain 3 and count this as a double crochet, and then we're going to do another double crochet in the same stitch. So the first stitch becomes a double crochet increase. Now for each of the next 9 stitches we're going to do a double crochet increase in every stitch. So by the end of row 2 you will have 20 double crochets. Here I am at the end of row 2 and I've just slip stitched into my first double crochet. Now for row 3 we're going to chain 3 and count as a double crochet, and we're going to do the same process. We're going to do a double crochet increase in every single stitch. So at the end of this row we will have 40 double crochet in total. Here is the end of row 3 and I've slip stitched again, so I've got my total of 40 double crochet. Now for row 4 we're going to chain 3 again, count as a double crochet into the same stitch, and in the next stitch we're going to add a single double crochet. So our pattern for this row is going to be double crochet increase, double crochet increase, double crochet, and continue that all the way around, and at the end of this row you will have 60 double crochet. I've just finished row 4 and I've got my 60 double crochet. Now for row 5 we're going to chain 1, we're going to single crochet into the same stitch, and now we're going to do 29 more single crochets all the way around, and I'll meet you again when we've done our 29. Here I finished my 29 single crochet, so now for my top stitch I'm going to add a half double crochet, a double crochet and a half double crochet all into the same stitch. And now what I'll do is 29 single crochets all the way around, and I'll slip stitch into my first stitch. So here is row 5 finished, and you can see I've got like a little point at the top. Now for our final row, row 6, we're going to do 31 single crochet, and then when we get to the top stitch we're going to do a picot and then 31 more. So let's do that together. So chain 1 for your single crochet, and let's do 31 single crochets until we get to that point. Here I am at the top stitch, so I'm going to do single crochet and I'll do my 2 picot stitch. So I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, and I'm going to slip stitch in the second chain from the hook. So I'll slip stitch into the back pull that through. There's my little peacock. And then I'll continue with my single crochets in every stitch until I get to the bottom. Here I finish my leaf, so I'm going to slip stitch into the last stitch, and then I'm going to leave a tail of about 20 centimeters. And there's your petal. For the central stem, I'm going to use a yellow DK cotton yarn, and I'm using the same 2.5 crochet hook. Okay, for the central stem, we're going to work in a spiral, and it's going to first start with a magic circle, yarn over, make your cross, and pick up your yarn. And I'm going to chain 1. And for the first row, I'm going to add 5 single crochet into my magic circle. 3, 4, and 5. Here we go. And I'm just going to pull my magic circle shut. Now for the rest of this, we're just going to work in the spiral, so there's no slip stitch, you just keep going round and round. You may find it helpful to add a stitch marker, but I find the best way to do this is just to count 50 or 55 stitches. So just keep going round in each stitch. After the second or third row, you will need to turn your work because it will go inside. So I'll try and show you that now. There's row number 4 and number 5. Okay, so here's after 5 stitches. So what I'm going to do is remove my hook, and I'm just going to flip my work the other way around. So I'll just pull the center and just flip it round, and I'll continue working in the spiral until I have 50 or 55 stitches. So here's my central stem after I finished. I've got about 50 stitches in here, and what I've done already, I've inserted my wire in through one side and out through the other. Now all I'm going to do now is just twist my wire to secure the central stem in place, just like that. Now we're going to make the flower cup, and then we'll assemble everything. To make my flower cup, I'm using the same 2.5 crochet hook and green yarn. So for row 1, we're going to make a magic circle, tail in front, yarn over, make your cross, and pick up your yarn and release your fingers, and we can start row 1. So chain 1, and we're going to add 6 single crochet into our magic circle. So that's my second, third, fourth, fifth, and 6th. Now before we continue, we're going to close our magic circle, but not completely shut, because I still want the stem to be able to go through here. So I'm going to close it as much as I can, and I'm just going to leave that little hole there so I can insert the flower stem later. Okay, for row 2, we're going to do a single crochet increase into every stitch. Oh, I just need to slip stitch as well, just to close off this row 1. So row 2, chain 1, single crochet increase in each stitch. So that's 2 single crochets in every stitch. Here is my row 2 finish, and I've slip stitched into my first stitch. Now I'm going to chain 1. For row 3, we're going to do a single crochet in every stitch. So at the end of this row, you will have 12 single crochet. Here I am at the end of row 3, and now my cup is starting to cup. So I'm just going to flip it round, and for row 4, I'm going to chain 1, and we're going to do a single crochet increase. That's 2 in the same stitch, followed by 3 single crochet. and then I'm going to repeat that again. So single crochet increase, 2 single crochet in the same, followed by 3 single crochets, and finally one more time, single crochet increase and 3 single crochets, and at the end of this row I will have 15 single crochet. Now for row 5, you're going to do a single crochet in each stitch, so I'll meet you again at row 6. Okay, I've done row 5, so let's start row 6. So I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to do 11 single crochets. So I'm going to go nearly all the way around the cup. I've completed my 11 single crochets, and now for the last 4 stitches we're going to do a half double crochet in the next stitch, followed by a double crochet increase, that's 2 double crochets in the same stitch, followed by another double crochet increase, that's 2 in the same, and then finally a half double crochet and slip stitch into your first single crochet. Okay, and here's your cup finish. So at the back you're going to have a slightly raised section which will hold your flower. So cut off cut off and leave about a 20 centimeter tail for your end. Okay, so now you should have all 3 pieces of your motif. So now we're going to assemble your flower. Okay, to start with, we're going to use the central stem. Now, I've only got a small piece of wire here. In my instructions, I do ask you to use a 50 centimeter piece of wire. Just for example, I'm using a small piece. Okay, so I've already got my wire attached to the central stem. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert the end of the wire into directly above the point into row 5, just about here. So I've inserted my central stem. I've got my yarn already attached to a tapestry needle. Now what I'm going to do is just fold over one side, just gently, and then I'm going to fold over the second side. And using my tapestry needle, I'm just going to weave in and out and fasten my petals shut. Now just for example here, I'm just doing the front. Now when I did it for mine, I caught a little bit of the yellow stem as well, just to secure that in place, just like this. Can you see that catching? And then I'll fasten off and weave in my ends. Okay, I fastened off and weaved in my ends, so my final bit is to add the flower cup. So I've still got my slight hole that I left before, and I'm just going to insert my wires into the magic circle. I'll just pull that through, and I want to make sure the raised section that we made here is going to go behind the flower. So it's just going to cup it gently. There we go, so it's through. And now with the long tails, I'm going to tighten the magic circle so it's very tight against the wire. And if you wish, you can weave this, wind it around your florist wire so it's the same color. With the other tail that we left from the back of the green cup, I just use it to weave in and out gently onto the back of the cup and the petal to secure it in place. And that's it. Once all that's done, just gently fold your petals over a little bit, and there you have it. There's your Crochet Calla Lily. Here's the Crochet Calla Lily I made this week, and it's much more professional. I've had much more time to finish it off. I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. Do come back, as next Monday I will be releasing another free crochet pattern. Bye!